What up? It's your girl KP, the sports chick. So it is finally here. The start of the regular NFL season. We have been waiting for this since the Super Bowl, since probably the day before the Super Bowl or the morning of the Super Bowl. And we're like, man, it's the last day of the regular season. It's the last day of the season. And now here we are. We have been patient. But, the offseason was pretty active. There were a lot of storylines going on, from Ezekiel Elliott to the draft to J.J. Watt's injury to, there were so many stories. Dak Prescott, the list goes on and on. But so here we are, and so I am here to give you my predictions for Week 1 in the NFL. Let's get started. So we're going to start with San Diego at Kansas City. So we just heard, as of this recording, it was a few days ago that we just found out that Jamal Charles is going to be out for Week 1. It's really not going to make a difference to the Chargers because he was out last time they played. But at least they have Joey Bosa on the other side. It'll be his debut after he finally decided he wanted to play, and he got his way, and so he's got his money, and now he can show that he is worth the millions and millions of dollars that they're paying him. My pick is going to be for the Chargers, essentially, because Jamal Charles is out. Kansas City had a good season last season. They made the playoffs, but, they played the injury-prone and the not deserving of the playoffs Texans last year and was out in Kansas City was out in the second round. So it wasn't indicative of them being an actual playoff team. So they played a team that really wasn't supposed to make the playoffs. My pick is for the Chargers. I can't wait to see that game. It's going to be interesting. Second game is going to be Green Bay versus Jacksonville. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer. Apparently, Jacksonville has stepped up their defense this year with some acquisitions. The biggest story here is going to be seeing how Aaron Rodgers does. He's coming off his worst season of his career, basically. He's older now. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He wants to win more. It's really hard to believe he'll have 2 years like last year in a row. Also, Jordy Nelson is back. He missed last year with his ACL injury, so he's back. I don't know with him. I don't know if he's a beast and like JJ the Cyborg, who can come back and just dominate right off the bat, or if he needs a couple games to kind of get back into the swing of things and condition himself. Either way, I still think Green Bay has enough talent to beat Jacksonville in the first week, so my pick is for Green Bay. Third game is going to be Tampa Bay at Atlanta. This doesn't really seem like a fun game that I'm going to want to watch, but basically Tampa Bay won the last 2 meetings against Atlanta. You got Jameis Winston. That's really all I got to say about that. I'm not really too excited about this game, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Atlanta to win it. I don't know how they're going to do this year, honestly. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's a shame. It's kind of similar to the Texans, and when 2012 was the Texans' best year in franchise history, and then they just fell apart. Bad trades, bad acquisitions, just messed up the total synergy of the team. And I feel like Atlanta gave away a lot of valuable pieces last year or during the offseason. And, we're left with the scraps if you're a Falcons fan. So I'm going with Tampa Bay. Next game, Bills and Ravens. This is going to be a battle of 2 quarterbacks that were on the same team this time last year. So Flacco is back since November 22nd of last year with that knee injury that kind of just put him out for the season. Tyrod Taylor is the new quarterback of the Bills. He took over for Flacco last year when he was gone. So now, I think that'll be interesting to see. But Flacco, to me, he was overpaid from the jump. I mean, when they won the quarterback, when he got his raise or whatever that was, when they won the Super Bowl, I was like, well, he won the Super Bowl. I guess he should get a raise. But I think he's still one of the most overrated quarterbacks of this generation, for sure. However, picked them to win against the Bills because the Bills are kind of in a rebuilding process. The Bills aren't stacked. There's really not much to say about their team as a whole. I mean, even the notes I took for this video, there wasn't really much to say about it. Anyway, picked the Ravens to win Week 1. But I don't expect the Ravens to do well. I mean, they both came off of mediocre seasons. I mean, the Ravens were 5-11 last year. I mean, with the injury, it's to be expected, really. But this is more of a rebuilding year. And Joe Flacco's not getting any younger, so we'll see what happens with that. But I don't expect them to be in any playoff talks. And if they do, it'll be wild card. And you know the story. Next game, Raiders and Saints. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Not a Saints fan because I'm a Texans fan. But they're always compelling to watch. They always have a story. Raiders are always compelling to watch. They always have a story. The Raiders, apparently Derek Carr is great. I've seen him play a couple times, and he's got to be better than his brother. He's got to be. His brother was kind of scared off because the Texans had bad defense the first, 6 or 7 years that they existed. So they made a scary quarterback out of him. But Derek Carr is supposed to be the business, or what his brother was supposed to be. Sorry, David. But at least David has a ring with the Giants. I mean, it's not all bad. And then with the Saints, also, this is supposed to be Oakland's year. There's a lot of talks for them to be in contention this year, playoffs, might win the AFC West. These are all the things that we're hearing about Oakland right now. And you know what? I believe the hype. I think that they're going to have at least a better than mediocre year, maybe enough to make the playoffs, maybe enough to win the division, maybe enough to get a couple rounds, or at least to the AFC. I don't know, maybe the second round of the playoffs after Wild Card Weekend, but they're not going to be a Super Bowl contender, not this year. If they do, I'll eat my hat. So obviously I'm picking the Raiders to win that one. And then with Minnesota and the Titans, I mean, this one's pretty obvious. The only thing I can really say that's a downfall for Minnesota, which is huge, is that Teddy Bridgewater obviously got injured. He's having surgery this coming Thursday for his injury that's keeping him out this season. So, his backup quarterback is Shaun Hill. They just acquired Sam Bradford this last week, and apparently Shaun Hill's going to be the starter, not Sam Bradford. So we'll see how that works out through the course of the season. And of course, since Teddy Bridgewater's out, I mean, even if he wasn't, it would still be the case. But AP is still and always the best option. He's the best running back in the league, point blank, period. So Minnesota's going to take that game. And then with the Bears and the Texans, it's such a lopsided matchup. They don't play each other that often, so they don't know each other that well. So that's what makes it fun. But I expect the Texans to dominate. They don't have a solid enough quarterback. They're kind of like the Texans 3 years ago with a quarterback situation. And, with Houston, Osweiler seems, let's keep it real. Osweiler is probably the best quarterback that we're going to get and have had since the franchise became a franchise. And I know that says a lot, even though we haven't seen him play games at Texan. But he's coming off a championship-minded team. Played with Peyton, practiced with Peyton, even though he's salty with that whole team as a whole. He has a championship mentality. That's what we need. We don't need slackers on the Texans. So J.J. Watt is going to be in full effect. Defense is going to be on it. David Clowney is going to be in the building. Hopefully he doesn't disappoint us, because I can only still think of college football when I think of Jadeveon Clowney because of those injuries he's been having in the league. And then on the other side, there's really not much to say about the Bears, other than they're probably going to lose. So I obviously give the Texans that game. Miami and Seattle. Now, Seattle is going to bring a lot of attention to this game, purely and firstly because they are promising a big surprise during the national anthem this Sunday. And I can only help but think that the whole team, they said whatever they do, they're going to do it as a team. So I can fully expect them. My guess is that they're all going to set out the national anthem. I don't know if the kicker agrees, because he's done a couple interviews and he says that that's not the case. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Other than that, I mean, their defense isn't what it used to be. Richard Sherman is still obviously there. I mean, you got Chancellor, you got a couple of the same old players, but the core of the defense is there, but they're not like they were. They're not the Legion of Boom like they used to be. Seattle, well, they're going to win because they're playing Miami, and Miami is kind of hurt. They acquired Arian Foster. He's supposed to be starting. But who's to say with a running back in general what injury could end their season or at least have them out for multiple games? And with Arian Foster, that's especially the case because he hasn't played a full season at least in the last 2 years. I stretch to say 3. So I think their success is dependent on how the quarterback, the chemistry, and how Arian does, honestly. They acquired him for a reason, so hopefully he follows through. My prediction, and it's not really a spoiler alert, is that he's going to disappoint. He's going to throw a fit at some point, and he's going to stop playing because that's what he does. He totally does the Dwight Howard, and I'm not joking about that. So Seattle takes that game. New York Giants and Dallas is probably going to be one of the most anticipated matchups of the weekend. The Giants, are the Giants. They got Eli. They got Victor. They got Odell. How can you go wrong? And then you got Dallas. Now, Dallas, on paper, you see a rookie quarterback, you see a rookie running back, and on paper it looks like, just give it to the Giants. But, this is the first time in a long time where I've seen something like this, where you have starting quarterback, starting running back with such high hopes. And it's seemingly more hopes for Dak Prescott than Tony Romo, because he, obviously he has a record of doing well in the regular season and flopping in the postseason. He went years at one point while just exiting the first preseason game. So it'll be interesting to see. I want to see how Dak does this first game. It's really going to take until maybe like game 4, I think, for us to see what he's really capable of as far as leading a game, calling, chemistry, so much more. So I'm giving this game, even though I don't like Dallas, I don't like Dallas, so I'm giving it to Dallas. I'm giving them the win. I'm giving them the W. Detroit and Indy. It would be interesting, except for the fact that Andrew Luck is playing and he's back, and I kind of want to see how he does with, if he's ready to play. And I like Andrew Luck, but he's kind of like Cam Newton in the fact that he doesn't get a lot of those big calls, those hard hits, because he's a big body like Cam Newton. But with that aside, he's a great quarterback. He's even, I think, better team captain, team leader. And I root for him all the way. So, and I have no bias towards him whatsoever. So, but I definitely think Indy's going to win over Detroit. Really, I feel bad for Detroit fans because it's been a long time, y'all, since y'all been halfway decent. Even when Barry Sanders was there, man, it's like, ugh. So anyway, Indy to win that one. Patriots in Arizona. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I'm picking Arizona. I don't expect in New England to win until Game 4. They played the Bills that weekend. I don't expect them to win this week. I don't expect them to win week 2. They played Texans in week 3. By then, they should be cooking. And I think by week 4, when they play the Bills, right, just in time for Tom Brady to come and take back over, I think that Tom Brady, that they'll win the 3rd game. So they're going to be, the 4th game. So I think that, and at first I was thinking it's a toss-up between the opening game of the season where you can kind of sneak a win and the 4th game, but I definitely think they're going to lose this week to Arizona. Arizona's stacked, you got, Pats will lose. They'll be 0-3, then they'll be 1-3 by game 4, and then Tom Brady will be back and do Tom Brady-like things. And then the Steelers and Redskins, that's going to be another fascinating game for me to watch. I love Ben Roethlisberger. I like the Steelers as a whole, except for the coach. I'm not a big Mike Tomlin fan. Ever since he tripped old dude, and Steelers fans everywhere will say he didn't trip him. He tripped that brother, okay? I haven't been a fan of the Steelers coach since Cowher was there, and I wish he would have came and coached the Texans, but I digress. But, you know, Roethlisberger's 34 years old now. He has 2 Super Bowls under his belt. But I think that he has some, he at this age, he still has to prove himself because he hasn't been mediocre, but he's been somewhere between mediocre and great. And he needs to come back around and do what he does best, Bryce Shaw, and take. And, you know, every year for the Steelers, I feel like it's a championship mentality. They go to the playoffs so much more than any other team. So the mentality there is always a Super Bowl. So, or at least the AFC Championship. No, the Super Bowl. So I picked the Steelers win over the Redskins. The Redskins are going to be decent this year, but they're not going to win this game. And the last game is the Rams and the 49ers. This obviously is going to be an interesting game to watch from a football standpoint, social media standpoint, and even if you're not a fan of football, there's going to be a lot of viewership for this game. People are going to tune in just to see Colin Kaepernick sit out. I mean, let's be real. With that said, he's not even starting. You're going to have the camera on him. And what other backup quarterback do you know that they pay that much attention to that sits out the national anthem? But with that said, Colin Kaepernick, you know, if I were a 49ers fan, I would love what he said recently, which is, the last time I was a second-string quarterback for the 49ers, we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, if I were a 49ers fan, that would kind of amp me up a little bit. So, and then with the Rams, now the Rams, LA, you know, they're back in LA this year. It's a new beginning for them. The Rams as a whole haven't been to the playoffs since 2008. It's been a while. And then, you know, you got Kirk Cousins, Antonio Brown. Oh, that's what I'm looking forward to see. It's the Antonio Brown-Josh Norman matchup. And Josh Norman finally gave somebody some props. He finally sounded like he knew what he was talking about. He said Antonio Brown is outstanding. Let's give the guy credit. That's the first time I've heard this dude not say something that was intelligent as opposed to the alternative. I'm ready to see that matchup. And really, he's pulled me in. Any interaction with Josh Norman and Odell, Josh Norman, anybody talks trash to Sam Bradford, I'm totally in. So, anyway, I picked the Rams to win Week 1 against the 49ers because there's going to be so much attention to the national anthem that I don't even know if they'll even be able to settle in. And if they do, it'll be too late. So those are my picks for Week 1 in the NFL. And then, of course, you can comment anytime on kpnsportschick.com. You can go to YouTube, find my social media links there. Questions, comments, suggestions. And then, you know, I'll be posting throughout the week winners and losers and so on and so forth. So check me out.